The promotion came through on a Wednesday, 3:47 p.m. My manager called me into one of those conference rooms with glass walls. You know the kind, where everybody outside can see you but can't hear you. She told me the role was mine, senior strategist. The title I'd stuck on my bathroom mirror 2 years earlier. I shook her hand. I smiled. I said the right sentences. I walked back to my desk, sat down, and I felt nothing. Not relief, not pride, not even a small, quiet, finally. The same emotional register as checking a box on a form. I sat there for maybe 10 minutes trying to locate the feeling, the way you pat your pockets when you know you had your keys a second ago. I'd carried the expectation of this moment for 2 years, and now it was here, and the feeling wasn't delayed. It was absent, like opening a gift box that was never designed to hold anything for you. That night I sat in my car in the parking garage for 40 minutes, engine off, hands on the wheel, not crying, not having a breakdown, just sitting with a question I'd never asked. Whose game is this? For the previous 4 years, I'd been fighting something I called laziness. The alarm would go off, and I'd feel this heaviness that I interpreted as a character flaw. Something is wrong with me. I can't make myself care about this the way other people do. So I did what every self-improvement video told me. More systems, more accountability, more morning routines designed to override the resistance. And it worked, in the sense that I forced myself to perform. Hit the metrics, got the title. And the title felt like holding someone else's mail. The resistance was never laziness. It was information. My motivational system, the biological architecture that decides where to invest energy, had been sending me a signal for 4 years. This player doesn't match these win conditions. Investment will not produce return. And I spent 4 years treating that signal as a defect instead of a diagnosis, medicating the alarm instead of reading it. This video isn't about finding your passion. That's a bumper sticker, not a strategy. This is about game design, the traceable architecture of rules, scoring, and win conditions governing every domain of your life. Career is a game. Fitness is a game. Each one has rules you're following, metrics you're optimizing, and a trophy you're chasing. The question nobody asks is, who designed the setup you're operating inside? Because if the answer isn't you, if the whole thing was installed by parents, culture, or an algorithm, then your motivational system isn't broken for refusing to invest. It's functioning. And what you've been calling laziness is the refusal to fund a structure where winning doesn't pay. Your body has been filing a report every week. You've been reading it as laziness. Sunday night, a heaviness in your sternum. Not anxiety, something heavier and less specific. A dull downward pressure from the inside. Your mind previews the week, and instead of generating anticipation, it generates a tiredness that has nothing to do with sleep. You slept 8 hours. But the preview of performing in a setup that isn't yours exhausts you before Monday arrives. That's not burnout. Burnout is exhaustion from doing too much of something you once cared about. This is exhaustion from previewing something you never cared about. Monday morning. The alarm goes off and your body asks why. Not, I'm tired. Why? As in, what is the return on this energy? You lie there staring at the ceiling and you interpret that question as laziness, as the thing separating you from disciplined people who spring out of bed with purpose. But those people aren't more disciplined. They're operating inside something where the why has an answer their body accepts. Your body already knows the answer. The return is 0, and it's choosing not to invest. That's not a malfunction. That's an investment system doing its job. The night I finally saw it wasn't planned. Thanksgiving. My Uncle Ray to my left. The one the family quietly considers the underachiever. He manages a small plant nursery outside of Raleigh. 22 years. Makes maybe $55,000. drives a 2014 Tacoma with a cracked tail light he's never fixed. And he was describing a propagation technique for fiddle leaf figs. Humidity trays, node spacing, something I couldn't follow. His hands were moving. His eyes were lit. Nobody at the table was listening because it was just plants, but I was watching his face, and I realized I had never, not once in 4 years, described anything about my work with that expression. My uncle, the family cautionary tale, was the only person at that table playing something that was actually his. His face over the fiddle leaf figs stayed with me for weeks, not because I wanted to grow plants, because I wanted to feel about anything the way he felt about node spacing. The setups got loaded through 3 channels. Parental projection. Goals your parents designed for the person they wanted you to be. Cultural scoreboarding. Metrics your environment celebrates, adopted the way you pick up an accent. Algorithmic comparison. Win conditions generated by seeing other people's highlight reels until their scoreboard replaced yours. 3 channels. Each one quiet. Each one producing goals that feel like desire but function as someone else's rules. Time to read the report. Here's why you've never questioned the structures you're operating inside. Installed goals feel exactly like chosen goals from the inside. Feelings can't tell you the origin. They can only tell you the intensity. And the intensity of an installed pursuit can be higher than a chosen one, because installed pursuits are backed by parental approval circuits and social comparison pressure that's been running since before you had a driver's license. The most intensely felt goal in your life right now might be the one that belongs to you the least. The game origin audit. Pull out the list of things you're pursuing or feel you should be pursuing. For each one, 5 questions. First, if nobody ever knew I achieved this, no announcement, no congratulations, no social proof, would I still want it exactly as much? If the motivation drops when you remove the audience, the structure was placed there by cultural scoreboarding. You absorb the metric from your environment, and the environment's approval is the reward, not the achievement. Chosen pursuits maintain their pull in private. Second, can I trace the first moment I wanted this? And was I older or younger than 14? Goals adopted before 14 are almost always parental projection. The career you're chasing because your father lit up when you showed interest at 11. Absorbed before you had the cognitive ability to evaluate compatibility. That doesn't automatically make it wrong, but it was taken on pre-audit. It deserves examination, not automatic loyalty. Third, if I achieved this tomorrow, what would I do the day after? Feel expanded or feel relieved? Expansion signals something that's yours. Relief signals something inherited. You don't want the trophy. You want to stop running. Fourth, who was the first person I saw doing this? And did I choose to admire them, or were they placed in front of me? Chosen pursuits start with deliberate exposure. You sought out the person, felt genuine resonance. Installed ones start with your feed. The distinction isn't quality, it's consent. Fifth, has this updated as I've changed, or am I pursuing the same version from 5-10 years ago? What's yours evolves with you. Ghost structures freeze, like a subscription you stopped using 3 years ago but never canceled. Still charging, still draining. If this is clicking for you, hit the like button. It helps me know this kind of content is what you need, and it helps other people who've been calling themselves lazy find this instead of another discipline hack. Classify each one. Chosen. You designed it, you'd pursue it in silence. Winning produces expansion. Inherited, someone else put it there. Motivation depends on an audience or an approval source. Ghost. It made sense once, but the player has changed, and the structure hasn't. Ghosts are the most expensive. They drain motivation without return, and every unit of energy they consume is a unit your chosen pursuits don't get. Now count. You weren't inconsistent. You were selectively investing. Your resistance was never random. It was targeted, and the target was accurate. The victory test. 2 parts. One reads your body. The other reads your history. Pick the goal that's been hardest to stay motivated for. The one you call yourself lazy about. Imagine the achievement, not the process, the moment. It's done. You got it. Sit in that imagined moment for 30 seconds. Don't analyze. Feel. Ask your body one question. Do I feel like putting something down or picking something up? Shoulders drop, long exhale. Relief. The structure is inherited. Posture straightens. Breathing quickens. Expansion. It's yours. But the body can be ambiguous after years of installation. Feelings blur. So, part 2. The history check. This doesn't ask what you predict. It asks what already happened. Think about the last significant win in this area. Not the moment of announcement. The 24 hours after. What did you actually do? I'll tell you what I did the night of my promotion. I went home, microwaved leftover pasta, sat on my couch, and watched 3 episodes of a show I wasn't paying attention to. Nobody called because I hadn't told anyone yet, and the reason I hadn't told anyone is the part that matters. I didn't feel like there was anything to announce. The win had happened, and my first instinct wasn't to celebrate or build on it. My first instinct was to sit down. That's relief. That's what it looks like when it's not yours. Now check your own history. If within hours of winning you were planning the next step, not out of obligation but out of pull, out of something in your chest leaning forward. Expansion confirmed. The thing is yours. Protect it. Fund it. Give it the energy you've been wasting elsewhere. If you felt flat, slept 12 hours, scrolled your phone for the rest of the evening, felt a flicker of exhaustion when someone asked, "What's next?" Maybe you didn't even know what to do with the rest of the day, as if the achievement was supposed to come with instructions and it didn't. That's relief confirmed. You didn't gain a trophy. You put down a weight. And then you stood there, lighter but directionless, wondering why the moment wasn't bigger than this. If your body simulation says expansion, but your history says relief, trust the history. The body can be confused by years of installation. Your history can't lie. What you did after the last win is the most reliable predictor of what you'll feel after the next one. Some of you just ran this on a goal you've been chasing for years. And the verdict is relief. Both sources pointing the same direction. Now you're thinking, I've invested years. Am I supposed to throw it all away? No. Before the protocol, count the years. The goal that just failed the victory test. How long have you been playing? How many mornings fighting the resistance? How many Sunday nights with that sternum pressure? Put a number on it. That number, multiplied by 52, is how many weekly reports your body filed saying, wrong structure. Each one read as, I'm lazy. I'm not saying this for guilt. The past is sunk cost. I'm saying this because the drain is still running right now. This week. Every week you don't rewrite is another week funding a zero-return investment. The rule rewrite protocol. Not quit everything and follow your passion. A strategic redesign. Keeping the board, changing the rules. Step 1. Extract the valid core. Strip the inherited goal to the element that matters independent of where it came from. Become VP by 35 might have a valid core of have enough influence to direct projects I believe in. Make $200,000 a year might really be enough margin that money doesn't dictate my daily decisions. The valid core is the part that passes the victory test with expansion. If there's no valid core, nothing left when you strip the installation away. That's a ghost. Cancel the subscription. Not with courage, with accounting. Step 2. Rewrite the win condition. Build it around the core. I win when I have enough influence to choose my projects, instead of I win when I have VP on my title. Then rewrite daily scoring from external metrics, salary benchmarks, title changes, follower counts, to internal ones. Skill development, creative satisfaction, alignment between what you did today and what actually matters to you. The daily experience shifts immediately. Step 3. Rewrite the rules of play and accept the cost. Inherited structures carry inherited rules about how to pursue them. Grind 60 hours. Network aggressively. Follow this specific diet. These were written by other players for their setup. Audit each one. Is this the only way to pursue my rewritten win condition, or is it just the way the previous designer played? Now the honest part. When you rewrite, the people who cheered for the old version will notice. Your father will feel a shift when you redefine success around something he didn't install. Your peer group will sense a dissonance when you stop competing on their scoreboard. I'm not going to minimize that. The friction is real. Some people will adjust, some won't. But here's the comparison. Temporary discomfort from people adjusting to the real you versus permanent investment of your one non-renewable life into a setup where winning produces the empty trophy. The math isn't close. Imagine being handed a violin at 6. You practice for 10 years, technically proficient by 16. But every session feels like a negotiation. Every performance feels like a presentation, not an expression. And one afternoon you walk past an open door and hear drums, and something in your chest responds. Not intellectually, physically. A resonance your hands never found on the strings. You don't switch. Because 10 years. Because your parents paid for lessons. Because you're good at it. Technically proficient, externally validated. So you spend another decade holding an instrument your hands know but your chest doesn't recognize. And you call yourself lazy for not practicing. Wrong, you're a drummer holding a violin. No amount of practice makes the violin resonate in a chest built for drums. The game origin audit finds the violin. The victory test finds the drums. The rule rewrite shows you that maybe you don't have to quit the orchestra. You just need to switch instruments. You were never lazy. You were a player with a working system inside a structure with incompatible rules. The system was protecting you, and when the setup is finally yours, the resistance doesn't need to be overcome. It disappears. Because it was never resistance. It was the refusal to invest in someone else's design. And that refusal was the smartest move you never got credit for. Here's what you do right now, not after this video. Now, open your Notes app. Write 3 to 5 structures you're currently operating inside. Career, body, money, status, creative project. Next to each one, write one letter. C for chosen, I for inherited, G for ghost. Don't overthink it. Your first instinct is the diagnostic. Your body has been filing this report for years. You're just writing it down for the first time. 30 seconds, 5 items, 5 letters. That's the first page of the audit. And the first time you'll see, in your own handwriting, how many of your active pursuits aren't yours. Installed structures survive on invisibility. They run in the background like a process you never opened, consuming resources you never allocated. The moment you can see inherited next to a goal you've been fighting yourself to pursue, the spell breaks. Not the structure. The spell. You were never lazy. You were a fully functional player trapped inside someone else's design, optimizing for their win conditions, scoring on their metrics, following their rules, and calling your system's correct refusal to invest a character flaw. That resistance was never the problem. It was the diagnosis. And the diagnosis was always the same. Wrong setup. The player works fine. The player has always worked fine. Change the design, and watch what the player can do when the win condition is finally actually theirs. Tell me what you found. Career inherited. Parental projection. My dad lit up when I mentioned finance at 14, and I've been running his scoreboard ever since. Body inherited. Algorithmic comparison. I've been chasing a physique from Instagram and never questioned if it was my metric. Grad school, ghost. Made sense at 21. I'm 29. The player changed. The structure didn't. Name it. Tag the channel. A named pursuit with a traced origin has already lost its invisibility. And invisibility was the only thing keeping it running. Subscribe for more content that treats your life as a designed system, not a motivational problem. Because the design is always fixable, and the player was never broken.